Hey guys, it's Luis with Team X3 Drop. We have our very own Evan in his updated version of the Gren Maju stun deck.
That's right. Yeah, it's a stun build, not the going second build that I'm sure all of you guys have been seeing lately. So if you follow the channel at all, you would know that about a month and a half ago or so, we did a deck profile on Gren Maju stun, and this is pretty much an updated version, like Luis said. Not much more to say. You want to get into it?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So first we play 3 Inspector Border. Anytime you say stun, probably going to be playing something degenerate like this. Pretty self-explanatory. You play this, your opponent doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Then we've got one of the best cards in the deck, one of the win cons, Gren Maju. If you don't know what he does, then I'll let you know. He gets 400 attack for every banished card, and a lot of the stuff I play banishes cards, so he adds up pretty quickly. Like I said, he's a win con, one of the best cards in the deck, and can't really play it without him. We've also got 3 Gizmek. This is pretty much the only reason I played the deck now. When he came out, I saw what the deck was doing in the OCG, and it was pretty decent, so just wanted to pick it up and give it a shot. A lot of the players in OCG, they were playing a stun build. They weren't playing the going second build that everyone sees now. And so I just kind of wanted to put my own spin on that. And yeah, this card's incredible. I would not play this deck if this card was not a thing. And then we've got 2 Eater of Millions. If you guys saw the last profile I did, you would have remembered that I played 3 Eater of Millions. And the more I played, more I tested, I really felt like 3 was just too cloggy. And I also play Extravagance in the deck, and there were a lot of times where Eater was just dead, mid-game, because I had already banished 5 off this. I would banish 6 off Extravagance, and then I'd only have 4 to banish for a second one, and I'd have to banish something from my hand or field, and it would just get kind of cloggy. So I think 2 is a really solid number, but I would not play 3 again. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, we've got 3 Desires. Nothing else to say about that. It's the best spell in the deck. You banish 10. If your opponent doesn't stop it, you get a free draw 2. If they do stop it, then your Gren Maju's already got 4,000 attack. So
That's a win-win no matter what.
That's a win-win, yeah. So I also play 3 Duality because I want to see Inspector Border as soon as possible. That's honestly it. You want to dig through this deck. You want to get your resources. You want to get, whether it's in Border or some of the traps that I play, which you'll see in a second, you really want to dig. And then I played 2 Pot of Extravagance. I played 2 for the same reason I only play 2 Eater of Millions. I just feel like mid-game, this will just be kind of dead because you've just banished everything already from your extra deck. So I think 2 is a good number. And then I got 3 Super Poly. So if you saw my last profile, then I was not maining this. I had it in the side. I actually spoke to one of our friends, Georgie, and he suggested maining this. I was a little skeptical at first, I'll admit, but I gave it a shot. I tested between 2 and 3, and I absolutely love it. This is one thing that I would not change. So thanks, Georgie. And then we've also got 2 Cosmic Cyclone. You want to get rid of a lot of back row. Diagrams, skill drains, multi-rolls, Mystic Mine, all that kind of good stuff. And then, so, okay, so this is something I would change. This is probably the one card I would say don't copy this if you just straight up net deck me. So I didn't really know what else to put in for my 40th card, so I just kind of threw this in there. My suggestion, if anybody decides to try this, don't play this. Play literally any other card. I don't care what you play.
Upstart.
Play Upstart. Play Ice.
Fisher.
Play Fissure. Yeah, play Magic Cylinder. Rick Rack. I do not care. Just play anything. This card sucks. It won. It's just terrible. I was made fun of a lot for playing one of. It's stupid, and I take the blame for that. But that's it for the spells. Onto the traps. We've got 3 Judgment. Pretty good card. Pretty much stop anything from happening. I've also got 3 Strikes. Last build I was playing 1 Warning, and I ended up cutting it. I wanted as many traps as possible that could, do something going first or second. Judgment doesn't really fall into that category against established boards. but most of the rest of my traps do, and you'll see the rest of them right now. 3 impermanents, pretty good anytime you see it. 3 compulse. I've got 2 crackdown and 1 macro. Macro seems to be an auto win against a lot of decks, or at the very least, you're going to burn a lot of resources trying to get rid of it. And I'm just going to have an advantage from there on out. So pretty good. Overall, this deck, I still think it's really solid. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I think both of us this past weekend, we saw a lot of the going second build. That was pretty much all we saw, but I still really think this is a strong build. And if you were considering playing Gren Maju but weren't sure exactly what to do or what build to play, I would consider at least giving this a shot. But that's it for the main deck. Extra deck. So we got a couple rank 8s. We've got Ingirsu and Hope Harbinger. Just pretty generic rank 8s, pretty strong these days. Then I have a bunch of super poly targets. I've got 2 Starving Venom, 2 the Predaplant guy. I would make this guy anytime my opponent did not make multiple Colossus. If they made like a Titan Colossus, I would make this guy. And then 2 the Violet Chimera, 1 the Mud Dragon. This one didn't really come up very often, but the extra deck isn't tight at all, so I just figured
the options there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then we've got some links: Phoenix, Trizbana, Decode, Borload, and Avermax. So I don't really go into these very often, to be honest. The thinking, I mean, pretty standard. Trizbana is pretty standard, I feel like, for Link 3. Decode, I just had him in there. I just figured there could be some situations that pop up where someone tries to impermanence or, Veiler, Gren Maju, and, I could tribute something else to protect it. But this never came up. I did make these guys a couple times. Avermax is still really good. Definitely good. But yeah, pretty standard. Like I said, the extra deck, not tight at all. Pretty much open to whatever you want to do. And then the side deck that I was playing, or have been playing recently, I had 2 Dark Bribe. So I like Dark Bribe a lot. Some people disagree with it. I just feel like once people see what I'm playing, they're seeing 20 traps and Inspector Border. They're going to be playing evenly. They're going to be playing Twin Twisters. A lot of that removal.
Red Reboot.
Yes, and so I just wanted to be able to protect myself as much as possible because it's not a guarantee I'm going to, see a judgment to stop it. And then I was also playing Anti-Spell and Imperial Order. The basic stuff against Pendulums, Sky Striker, anything that plays a lot of spells.
Spell books.
Yes, I mean, I guess. You never know. And then 3 evenly. My opponent makes a big board. I can try to bait out a gate or 2 and then just clear the rest of their board. I feel like one deck that this build has a really hard time with is True Draco. So yeah, being able to just, if they don't have the judgment, just clear most of their board and regain like advantage is really good. And then 3 Dimension Shifter. If you guys don't know this card, it's from the 10s. It's one of the promos. So if you have no cards in grave, you send it to grave, and then anything until the end of the next turn that would go to the graveyard is just banished. It's really strong. There are a lot of decks that this card hurts. You pretty much either like pass your turn if the graveyard bothers you, or if you need your graveyard, you either pass or you just lose a lot of resources that you can't get back. So yeah, it just kind of stops a lot of decks. And then we've got 2 Banker Tops. One of the best going second cards in the game right now, I think everyone would agree with that. And then 2 Sphere Modes. So I didn't play Nibiru at all. I did have them, I got rid of them. But I still think Sphere Mode is really solid. I know you don't get to normal summon the turn that you do it, but I play so many traps in this deck, it doesn't really bother me. I can just grind out until the next turn and then push for a lot of damage then. But yeah, that's it for the profile. That's the updated version. I mean, you've seen me play it the last couple months or so.
How many times did you lose at locals in the last couple months with this deck?
The last couple months, total games or matches, I think the last couple months we probably played at least, 10, 12 locals, and I've lost 2 matches total with this deck. I believe one was to Striker, and then one was to Orcust. And they just, they made a big board, couldn't break through it. But yeah, I mean, losing twice in the last 2 months is pretty good. at least for a locals level. So, I mean, I don't know that I would suggest taking this to a regionals. You could. I think under the right player, it could do well. But I think this is honestly a very, very strong locals deck. Yeah, I mean, you've been there. You've seen a lot of what's happened. At first, we were making jokes that it was just a cheese deck, and I'll still admit that it is to an extent. But I think it's a lot stronger than people give it credit for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Do you have any shout-outs? Who's this guy right here?
This guy, my friend Hector, Dank Deals. If you guys, don't know him, well, he's been under a rock for the last few years.
Who's that guy right there?
This guy, don't worry about him, but he likes some steak and potatoes, so that's pretty good.
Who's that guy right there?
My boy Junior. Team Dark Hole, retired, but for now, never say never.
All right, man. Well, thanks for the deck profile, and see you on the next one.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you guys.